I'm sitting in my basement on a Sunday afternoon and working on my latest blog post, which is a kind of a month in review and really more of a year in review. So Trevor and I sat down and started mapping out how did January 2017 go? What were our results? What strategies did we use? What worked and what didn't? And so we're writing that into a really big website traffic report for January. And as we were writing it, I realized that there was so much from 2017 that I also wanted to recap. So then now this blog post has turned into this massive post really talking about what happened in 2017, what we learned, what we tried. And then it also dives into January of 2018. But as I'm writing it, there is so much good stuff in there that I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go live. You know, I might be in a hoodie, but it doesn't matter. I'm just going to go live and share it with my group because I think that you guys would really benefit from hearing some of these lessons. So the first thing I want to share that Trevor and I were really pumped about was in 2017, the blog, Gensler.com, had over 100,000 page views. So that was the very first year. We launched it on December 16th of 2016. So it was really only live for 2 weeks in 2016. So 2017, and we kind of consider that like as a full, like legit year. And we had over 100,000 page views and over 36,000 unique users on the site, which was really cool. But what's even cooler than that is that in January, we hit over, let me see, I think we just hit 24,000 page views for the entire month of January, which is pretty cool because that's almost 1/4 of what we hit the whole year of 2017. So we're already starting this year off, you know, kind of with a bang. Hold on, I gotta snooze something right now on my computer. There we go. And then at the end of 2017, we also ended with 3,800, so almost 4,000 email subscribers. And so I think Trevor figured out that we had hit over 6,000, but you know, throughout the year you have a lot of attrition with a lot of people unsubscribing. And then we also discovered that of those 100,000 page views, 54% of all of our traffic was brought from social media. So we decided to do a deep dive into that social media and figure out, you know, where are our efforts making sense? And what can we do to become more strategic in 2018? And what we discovered is that, and it really wasn't that surprising, but what we discovered is of all of that social traffic, 80% was driven by Pinterest, which was freaking amazing. Then I think 15 was driven by Facebook, and then the other 5% was all the other channels. So Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Dig, StumbleUpon, Tumblr, all of those made up the other 5%. And so, you know, it really followed the 80-20 rule, is that 80% of our traffic, the social traffic, is being driven by, you know, 20% of the efforts. So we're really not putting that much effort into Pinterest. We're able to automate it. It's gotten really, we have a really easy process down, a great strategy, and it's bringing in 20% of the results. So then we thought, okay, so all of this effort going into Twitter and going into Instagram and LinkedIn and the Facebook page is not driving jack. And the 15% of the traffic that was coming from Facebook, most of it is from me engaging in Facebook groups, getting on daily, posting, commenting, engaging with people on other Facebook groups in addition to this one. And what we realized is that that's a lot of work. And so in 2018, we have decided to really pull back the reins on a lot of our social media, and we are focusing strictly on search engines. So that means Pinterest, YouTube, and Google. So Trevor has been diving super deep into the world of SEO, and he's been doing tons of keyword research, and it's already given us some astounding results. I mean, as I mentioned, January we had over 24,000 page views, which was almost 1/4 of what we had all year in 2017. So already 1 month, and well, it's been more like 2 months because we decided around November that we were going to focus on those search engines. So about 2 months of saying, we're focusing on search engines, it's skyrocketed the traffic. It's been amazing. So what we're kind of struggling with right now is, do we cancel SmarterQ? So we use SmarterQ right now as our social media scheduling tool, and I use that to automate my Twitter, my LinkedIn, and my Facebook page content. And SmarterQ is amazing. I'll put a link to it in the comments later. But so we're debating on, do we cancel that or not? So I'm not sure. So I see there's a couple people on. Wendy, hi. Yes. Whoa, I agree. And then Anne-Marie, awesome. Yeah, so Anne-Marie says, I'm receiving your emails with great tips. Thank you. She's from the Netherlands. That's awesome. So glad you're enjoying those. And I'm glad you mentioned that too, because you know, at the beginning of this video, I mentioned that I'm sitting in my basement working on my blog traffic report from the past month and really from the past year of 2017. And so I will be emailing out that blog post. I'm hoping to have it finished tomorrow. It's turning into a beast of a post. It's already 3,000 words, but I'm putting in a ton of lessons learned and a ton of strategies that you guys can learn from. So, but I will email that out. Hopefully you guys will be getting another email from me this week with that final blog post. But yeah, as I mentioned with SmarterQ, you know, Trevor and I are debating, do we just keep the SmarterQ? Do we keep paying the $25 a month and just let it keep automating that, you know, the content to Twitter and LinkedIn and the Facebook page? Or do we really say, you know, screw it. We've said we're focusing on the search engines, Pinterest, YouTube, and Google, and do we cancel SmarterQ? So I would be curious to know what you guys think. I would love to hear your thoughts, you know, in the comments. Let me know if you've had to make a similar decision in your business and how that worked. But it feels really strange for me to say, like, oh yeah, we're going to quit all that, because so much of what I teach is social media, you know, and so much of what I've consulted other clients on is engaging on social media. So I'm still struggling with that decision, but we'll see. Yoast SEO. So Wendy asked, does Yoast SEO apply to Pinterest too? So Wendy, Yoast SEO is really awesome plugin to help you rank on Google. I'd have to get Trevor involved in that one to see if he knows. I don't think that it can apply to Pinterest. So a lot of what he's been doing on the Pinterest SEO side is really digging into the actual Pinterest platform itself and trying to search through some of those keywords, digging into our, I don't want to say competitors, but other people in my niche. So really digging into their profiles, trying to figure out what works, what's working for them, what's not, what keywords are working well. So the Yoast SEO plugin for WordPress is an awesome plugin to help with search engine. So to help you rank better on Google and Bing and all those different search engines. So, so Trevor's having to dig deep into YouTube itself individually, Pinterest individually, and then Google to figure out which keywords perform on each. And he's trying to learn all the different ranking factors and the different tricks to help increase rankings on all three of those platforms. So there will definitely be more trainings coming up in the future as Trevor is kind of learning some of these tricks and figuring out what's working and what is not. Okay, so I want to dig into some of the 4 lessons. So as I've been writing this blog post, there were 4 big lessons that came up, and these lessons really made a big impact on us from 2017. And so I want to share them with you guys because I think they're really, really important. So before I start, I need a drink. Okay, so the first big lesson that we learned is that you can make changes as you go. So that was one big piece, you know, and it's really easy to want to hold yourself back from progress or action. So a perfect example would be this video right now. So I am going live last year about, well, so yeah, a little over a year ago. It would have been November or December of 2016. I told Trevor, I was like, I'm going to do weekly Facebook Lives, and I'm going to provide so much value, and that's how I'm going to build my audience, and it's going to be great. I did one live, I think on January 2nd, and then I didn't do another one for like a couple months, and the second that one was over, I deleted it. I think I went upstairs and cried. It was horrible. And I haven't done one really again since. And I was allowing fears and perfection get in the way. I mean, as you can see today, I'm not wearing makeup. I'm wearing a hoodie, and I decided I need to live by my own mantra. And this lesson that we really learned last year was that, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be shared. And I learned that from Nikki Elledge Brown, and that really resonated with me because my mantra has always been perseverance, not perfection, is the key to success. And so I kind of wanted to really live that through. So I'm writing this blog post about, you know, it doesn't need to be perfect, and you can make changes as you go, and you can improve as you go and learn and get better. And you have to start somewhere, and you just need to take action. And wherever you start is the most perfect place to start, right? But, you know, I thought, how can I be writing this in a blog post if I'm not living it? So that was kind of a big inspiration for going live and just saying, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go live and I'm going to share. So I hope you guys are getting some value out of this and finding it informative. And if not, you know, it's a starting place, and the videos will get better and better over time. Okay, so the next big lesson that we learned is to keep it simple. Now, I know everybody has heard the, you know, it's the kids method, it's keep it simple, stupid. But sometimes I struggle with this one because I like to make everything, you know, really overly complicated. So I don't know if you struggle with this too, if you feel like if it's simple, then maybe you're not trying hard enough, or it's not sophisticated enough, or, you know, maybe it doesn't make you appear intelligent enough. But I really learned through building a funnel and building a sales funnel that simpler is better. The more complicated, the more detailed you make it, does not make it work better. It makes it crazy. So an example of this, last year I created a Pinterest course, and I had a crazy funnel for it. I had, sorry, I've got kids running around upstairs and just heard a loud bang. So hopefully Trevor's on that. But I had a really crazy detailed funnel. I had a, when someone joined my list, I think I had a 4 or 5 email series, and that email series then tried to get them onto a different series of emails, which was a free Pinterest course, and that was like 6 or 7 emails, and then that tried to get them to buy a course. So by the time I even pitched this course that I had to offer, I think it had been 10 emails deep. And by then, people were typically so overwhelmed, and there was so much information, and they couldn't keep up with it. So that pretty much was a flop. And then in December, whew, that was another really loud bang. So I don't hear crying. Hopefully kids are good. Sorry about that, guys. The joys of trying to build your business while you are still a mother and full-time worker. So if you are a parent out there, I'm sure you can relate. But a big piece of, so in December, Trevor and I built a much more simple funnel. And when someone entered onto the email list and opted in for a freebie, they immediately were sent to a, it's called a tripwire page. They were immediately sent to a tripwire page where they received an offer. And that converted like crazy. It went so well. And so it really showed to us that, you know, you need to keep it simple. And making it more complicated actually makes it sometimes even more frustrating for the person that you're trying to help. You know, if you have something that you have of value that can provide value to others, don't hide it. Don't make it a secret, and, you know, just keep it simple, throw it out there, and, you know, provide what you have to provide to the world. And if they want it, they'll take it, and if not, they'll go away. But It's really about keeping it simple. So Wendy, I just saw Wendy said, yep. So I'm sure Wendy must be able to relate to running a business with kids. Lots of crazy distractions. And actually, that was exactly what just happened, was exactly the reason why I've been holding myself back all year from these lives. Because again, I think, oh, what if a kid comes running in the room? Or what if the kids are banging around upstairs and, you know, distracts me? And again, it's just like, you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because people understand this is life. This is real life. This is what it's like to build a business. Yes, Wendy, you're right. It is never a dull moment. It does make it a lot more fun, a lot more interesting. Okay, so I'm going to move on to lesson number 3. Lesson number 3 was to email often. And this was a very, very hard lesson for me to learn. So last year I sent, I don't know if it was my first email. It might have been my first big email that I sent. I sent it on my birthday last year, which was probably really not wise. And of course, I received a spam request because I hadn't sent an email since people started joining my list on December, I think it was December 16th, where I got my first subscriber. So it had been almost 2 months where I had been building up email subscribers, and then I sent an email and I got an spam report, and I was devastated, absolutely devastated. And I felt like a total failure. And, you know, and then I was angry because I was like, why would you spam report me? Like, you asked to be on my list. And so the more I thought about it, the more I realized that it's because I had not been emailing them often. And so, and I think I dug in, and that person was one of, you know, the first subscribers. So they subscribed back in December, and I realized, like, well, duh, they subscribed over, you know, almost 2 months ago. Of course they spam reported me because they have no freaking clue who I am anymore. And so that was a really hard lesson to learn, but I realized that if I email often, and I'm not talking every day, I'm saying at least once a month, minimum once a month. Once a week is great, especially if you can get on a regular cadence. But this next year, it's going to be my goal to try and send bi-weekly emails. So sending every other week where I'm actually providing some good value. And I've noticed that when I email regularly, my incidence of spam reports go way down, sometimes even 0, and my number of unsubscribes, the percent, goes significantly down as well. But the other great thing when you email often, I see traffic spikes. So I'll put an image in the blog post where you can see the days that I email, and each of those days there's a traffic spike. So, you know, so when you email often, it gets a ton more traffic to your website. And I see spikes in sales. Every single time I email, I have a huge spike in sales that day and the day after. So it kind of makes emailing, it can be a little addictive. But, you know, especially if you're just starting out, try not to let it scare you to email often, because you will see, you know, your subscriber count go down. And that's really hard, you know, when you've worked really hard and you feel like you have all this value to provide. But you just have to remember that, you know, if you email often and you provide value, that the people who need to hear your message, you know, they're going to stay, they're going to hear it, and your percent of your unsubscribes is going to go way down. Okay, so the fourth and final lesson, it's really not the final lesson, but the fourth lesson that I'm including in this blog post that we learned from 2017 was that consistency is not everything. And I know that this goes against what all the experts like to teach, that, you know, especially with an online business, it's all about consistency, and consistency on social media, and consistency on your blog. You have to constantly be putting out content and publish regularly and email regularly and post regularly. And honestly, as a team of one business owner, and, you know, personally as someone who has children, I have a full-time job, you know, trying to build this business. It's not easy to be consistent. And so what happened last year was, I think it was May, so May 12th, was the last regular blog post. So we were publishing fairly regularly until May 12th. And then I took a hiatus to work on my Pinterest course. And then in June, I picked up a really good consulting client and decided to kind of take a big detour into the world of consulting. And then started trying to heavily pursue consulting clients. And so then I published again in June, one more post in August, and then nothing again until November. So I essentially took a 5-month hiatus on regularly posting content onto my blog. And for a while, you know, it kind of gave me anxiety. And I thought, oh gosh, you know, I worked so hard and, you know, I've built this audience and I've built these email subscribers and I'm not providing them value. And I had a lot of guilt for that and was really kind of worried about what would happen. And what I saw was the traffic remained level. And I have another chart that I'm going to include in the blog post and that you guys will see later this week. But what happened was the traffic, you can see, so I had my last email and then the traffic remained level. I had another blog post in June. It continued to stay level. In July, it started increasing, and I hadn't published anything since the beginning of June. It started increasing. Well, Trevor realized that that was from all the SEO work that he had been doing and using the Yoast SEO plugin. And so all of that SEO work, which it takes, and he'd been reading, it takes anywhere from 4 to 6 months for any SEO efforts to really start taking hold. And so what we noticed was, boom, 6 months hit, we're starting to get a traffic spike, even though we're not publishing content. And then it started to go back down, you know, which is to be expected because we're not publishing content. And then, but it went back down to the same level it was at back in May. So we did not lose any of the traction that we had made. We basically stayed consistent. And then the really cool thing is once we started publishing regularly again, the traffic just started exploding. And so the big takeaway that I wanted to share with you guys is that it is okay to take a break if you need it. It is okay to rest. It is okay to try different things. And don't beat yourself up about it. You know, 2017, part of it was pretty rough for me because, you know, I did a lot of self-beatings, you know, just beating myself up and making myself feel like, you know, I'm not working hard enough or I'm not doing good enough at this because, you know, I'm not serving my audience well enough because I'm wanting to take a detour. And in reality, you know, hindsight's always 20/20, but in reality, now I'm seeing, okay, there was a lot of great things that I learned, and there was a lot of clarity that I was able to get out of that experience. And so now it's made me a much better online marketer. It's made me a better blogger. It's allowed me to get more clear on what I want to provide and who I want to help. And it's also helped Trevor and I to also define that we don't want to build a business based on the hustle. So you see all over Instagram, people talking about the hustle and working hard. And you've got Gary Vaynerchuk talking about, you know, staying up and working your butt off till 3 in the morning and then getting up at 6 and starting all over again. And that is not our style. You know, Trevor and I want to build a business that is fun and has ease and joy and allows us to have rest and relaxation. And we don't want to build it off of exhaustion and fear and hustle. So another big part of what we decided for 2018 is that we really want to share the message that you can have balance and you can take breaks and you can have rest. And that's okay in your business. As a business owner, you need to have those moments to have rest and to take breaks. And yes, consistency is important, you know, especially in online business. You want to be consistent, you want to show up, you want to provide value. But if you need to take a break in your business, it's not going to break your business. You know, sometimes you need to take an inhale so that you can exhale. So I heard that recently from Brene Brown's new book, Braving the Wilderness. If you haven't read it yet, it's awesome. But in it, she had mentioned a conversation with a woman that had talked to her about, you know, they were about to go on stage and speak, and she said, you know, tonight we're going to go on stage and we're going to exhale. Right now, we need to inhale. And that really resonated with me. And I thought, you know, all week long, from Monday through Friday, I go to work during the day and during the lunch and in the mornings, sometimes in the evenings, I work on my business. And I'm exhaling all week long. And when the weekend comes, if I have no more breath to exhale, then it's okay to stop and to inhale. So if that helps you too, that just gives me a really good visual to remind myself that I don't have to constantly hustle, and it's really not healthy to constantly hustle. And I can't be creative and provide what I need to provide if I never stop to inhale. So I've kind of gone on and on and on that final lesson, but the big bottom line key point that I want you to take away from that lesson is that blogging does not have to be an exhausting hustle, that it can be done and it should be done joyously and creatively, and it should be fun. So I hope that those 4 big lessons, that you guys got something of value out of that, and lots more great things to come in the post. Hopefully I will be done writing it on Monday, and we should have it up on the site by the end of the week. But once it's up, I will include a link in this video to the blog post, and I'll also email it out to you guys so you can read it in detail and see all the charts and graphs that I have for you, kind of talking about some of the stats and talking about some of the strategies. So thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate it, and hopefully lots more videos to come in the future. Bye guys.